So, welcome to World of Bikes YouTube channel. My name is Brendan, and today we've got a review of a 2014 KTM Duke 200. So, not quite the 125, but the 200. So yeah, let's get this game on the road. One thing I don't like about this bike that I just want to point off initially: when you put the ignition on, the gauges don't come on until you put the kill switch on. It's just a little nitpick of my own, but yeah, let's see what happens. Today we're going to continue playing the ever dangerous game that's a consistent thing on this YouTube channel, and that is not having any fuel in the bike and trying to get to a fuel station. So on this channel, I think the smallest bike that we've reviewed so far has been the 600s. There was a CBR 600 that we did earlier this year. So the little 200 is definitely a pretty nice change of pace. So yeah, let's see what she's got. So based off of the 200, these 200s were introduced on the back of the success of the Dukes, the 125 Dukes, which were produced in, I believe, 2010. This being a 2014 model, the 200 was, this initial selection of 200s were available from, I believe it's 2012 to 2014, which was obviously the first shapes. Still using the same gearbox as the 125, however the rest of the engine is pretty much re-engineered. Longer stroke, a little bit of a bigger bore out of the single cylinder. So yes, one cylinder, one spark plug, that's it. One fuel injector. Definitely a lot easier in terms of maintenance and that kind of stuff. A lot cheaper as well. I believe this bike takes just over a liter of oil, which is great. It's cheap, it's fantastic, but it is basically on par with most things, most of these bikes around this displacement size. So far, initial impressions: this is the first time I'm riding this bike. I am a pretty big guy. I'm 6'4", and I can definitely feel that this isn't the biggest bike. It's quite apparent, if I'm being quite honest. I do have some spray on the seat, which is making it very slip and slidey. We use silicone spray just to touch up, make the bikes nice and bright again, and that has definitely caused me to be upwards and forwards the whole time. But there's definitely more than enough space on the seat. Overall, I wouldn't say an incredibly uncomfortable ride so far. Obviously, it looks like my legs are a little bit too big. As you can see there, they're not really sitting inside that notch, which hasn't been a huge complaint. I know that I am taller than most of the population, so it's not a huge thing just yet. As for drivability, so far it's actually felt very comfortable. The suspension is really good on this bike. As far as I remember, they use WP inverted forks and a WP rear suspension, as well as the trailless lightweight frame, which generally should make for a really well handling bike. So far, I mean, it's as nippy as you expect it to be with its short wheelbase. I would advise this is a great little commuter bike if you want to just run off to the shops or something. If you're trying to learn how to ride a motorcycle, I think that this is a fantastic platform. And then as well for students, these bikes are very popular within students in my country and in South Africa, which is, I can completely see why. It's a very reliable motorcycle. This specific one has got, testing out those brakes there, that's quite surprising. This bike's brakes are fantastic. Taking into account South Africa, where if you're under the, well, as soon as you're 16 and you get your learner's license on a motorcycle, you're allowed to ride motorcycles on the road as long as they're up to 125cc in displacement. And then once you're 18, if you still have your learner's license, you can ride pretty much anything displacement wise. Obviously, missed a gear there. So one thing I want to add on this bike is, although the gauges may be small, and I know I complained about it right in the beginning of the video, it gives you a lot of information, like a lot of information. You have trip selections up to trip F, so I think that's 5 A, B, C, D, E, F, 6, sorry. I really like that it's completely digital. It's something that I complain about on a lot of bikes where everything is still old analog gauges, and especially on bikes that were like pretty much produced 2009, 2010, that's really not needed anymore. It really isn't. This bike also gives you a low battery warning. Unfortunately it's just a code, so you have to research the code. So it'll tell you when the battery's low. It'll do a whole bunch of other cool stuff as well. I really like the fuel gauge. A lot of these like size bikes do not have fuel gauges, especially when you look at like the Honda XR series, the 125s, the 175s. They do not have fuel levels, which is something that's rather important to me. I like knowing where I'm at on the fuel side, as well as a temp gauge. I love temp gauges. I like knowing what temperature my bike is sitting at, and how it's doing. It's something that's rather important to a lot of guys, and motorcycle manufacturers seem to not take that into account a lot, is letting the people know what temp they're at. A lot of the bikes just have a warning when the temperature is too high, and that's about it. So this specific bike has got the SBK exhaust on it, which is rather nice. I won't like complain about it. It's nice having a bit of a better sound than your normal, you know, base models, your 125s and your 200s. That actually does sound like something. That being said, this is also the first naked bike that I'm riding in a while, and so far I'm pretty impressed. Obviously I haven't gone highway speeds yet. I've just been cruising around on the inside of town here, and it's very comfortable. I haven't felt a crazy amount of wind hit me. You know, it doesn't feel like I'm being pushed off the motorcycle per se. Brakes are really good. I am genuinely impressed by the brakes, and although my legs are a bit too long for the bike, unless I kind of squish them in low like that, this is a very comfortable bike. I really like where the foot pegs are at. It's in between like sporty and traditional commuter, and the bike has got the top power figures for its class in the 200cc range, which is 26 horsepower. Not an incredible amount, obviously, to experienced riders, but I think to a beginner it's really more than enough. So we're doing about 62 kilometers per hour now. We're in an urban area, so that's about the limit. 6th gear, and this guy's braking. We're running about 4,000, 5,000 RPM, which really isn't nice bad. As far as I remember, these guys really just been cruising around. I haven't been winding it as such. I think we might just end up trying. There's no one behind us, so I can let that little car get nice and ahead of us. Stop the little guy from jumping in front of us. Let's see what she does. I mean, it's not incredibly fast. I am impressed. I will not lie. I am very impressed. Comparing that against like a Honda XR 125, I know it's 75 cc's less, which is a substantial amount. I mean, that's like 30 to 40% less displacement. I'm very impressed. That is speed that I'm very impressed with for this style of bike. That being said, like, these bikes really are perfect for students. They're perfect for people learning how to ride motorcycles. I'm really liking that little shift light that the bike has, that little red shift light right in the middle. That was quite nice. I am quite a big fan of that. But overall, it's a really good bike. I understand why they're pricey. Obviously they come from Austria and all that kind of stuff. Getting parts for them can sometimes be a bit of a pain. Not that they're not available. I've very rarely had a KTM where the parts weren't available. It's just that it has to be shipped to you, and that normally takes about 7 to 10 working days. I really like stuff being available immediately, so that is a bit of a turn down for me. But I mean, if you're looking for reliability, this bike is definitely one of the more reliable bikes that you're gonna find. but also, to be fair, a lot of the bikes in this class are exceptionally reliable. It's what they're known for. They're used for commuting, they're used to put kilometers on. And as this bike sits, it's got 35,000, almost 36,000 kilometers on it, which really isn't bad. It's really not that bad, considering it's a little 200cc, and I wholeheartedly believe that it can reach a lot more. Nice little buck on the hard gear changes. I mean, it's more than enough to get you away from like normal traffic and that kind of stuff. So overall, I am rather impressed with this bike. I think it's a great starter platform. It's a very comfortable ride. If you're just looking for something to go to the shops with, or something small, it's going to be more than enough. So yeah, that's it for this review, guys. I hope that you guys enjoyed it. Please like, share, comment, subscribe, all that kind of good stuff. Remember, we've got the 100 subscriber giveaway coming up. So to enter that, all you need to do is subscribe, and I'm going to ship out some stickers and a garage flag or a shop flag out to you wherever you are in the world, to one of the lucky people that are in the draw. So let's get some fuel in this thing and get back to the office. I hope you guys have a wonderful day.